Welcome to HSDF the Podcast, a collection of policy discussions on government technology and Homeland Security brought to you by the Homeland Security and Defense Forum. In this episode, the panel discusses how cutting-edge technologies are revolutionizing public safety and emergency response. The panel addresses the pressing challenges of balancing better, faster, and cheaper solutions while integrating zero trust and IT modernization to address life and death scenarios and mitigate financial impacts. Featuring Bob Costello, Chief Information Officer, CISA, Bobby Hall, Director, Compliance Division, Office of the CIO, FEMA, Shawn Kingsberry, Vice President, Cybersecurity, SAIC, David Simpson, Rear Admiral Retired, U.S. Navy, Virginia Tech, Pamplin Business College Professor in Leadership and Cybersecurity. This discussion took place at the HSDF Cybersecurity Symposium on July 10, 2024.
So let me start with the first questions. Each of your organizations are charged with very important public safety missions, or missions more largely public safety, emergency response, addressing citizen-centered outcomes. These missions have not only security and public safety elements to them, they increasingly have economic, community, and individual considerations that must be balanced with the continuous pursuit of better, faster, cheaper. It's important that we be able to differentiate what we do out of the United States from an increasingly competitive global economy that looks often towards alternative solutions. So how are the agencies that you support employing emerging technologies such as AI, robotics, 5G, cloud to improve mission outcomes? And let me go ahead and start maybe with Shawn and our system integrator on the panel.
You bet. Yeah, you see, I was like, okay. Thanks. So first, hey, thanks a lot. And I'm glad everybody could come. This is a great conversation, and I'm glad to be here as well. So first, I'd start off saying better, cheaper, faster, pick two. Yeah. Because you're not going to get all three, right? Because when you look at the challenges and constraints that you have with time, how much budget do I actually have? What's the mission that's actually taking place? Typically, you're gonna pick two, right? And you're gonna figure out.
And use emerging technologies. So help us with the emerging technologies.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is it's important because you have to factor that in to every one of these models. And when you start to look at some of the, I'm going to say some of the agencies. So I'm also going to put on my former federal CIO hat, right? When you look through that lens, you have to look at where you are today and the mission today and some of the problems that have to be solved. And now a lot of the problems kind of go to that digital edge now. And when we say the digital edge, that really is finance, that's law enforcement, that's all of the above. And when you look at the elements that make up that and the innovation that's necessary to put into that and the factors and the problems, the outcome of the problems actually are life. In some cases, it's life and death. In other cases, it's actually financial impacts and the likes. So it's lots of opportunities when you look at leveraging AI, and I'm going to talk about zero trust, right? Because zero trust is real. Sometimes we kind of talk over it a little bit because it's kind of like when cloud first came out, everybody said cloud, they were clouds, so it made cloud cloudy, right? So now everybody says that they are zero trust, and zero trust isn't a noun, it's a verb, it's an outcome, right? And when you look at what that means and you factor that into the decisions that are made and you look at it from IT modernization, cyber by design, right? You start to pay attention a lot differently, right? So now you start to look at the edge. How can I actually have zero trust at the edge? Right. And that's happening today, especially when you look at CBP and some of the other law enforcement agencies where you can have secure at the edge because you have to, because of the pervasive nature of how everyone computes.
I love that connection to Border Patrol, right? Because our borders nationally are no longer at the edge of our physical boundaries. We've got digital borders that are out there everywhere. They need to be protected if we're going to protect the nation. But Bobby, what kind of emerging technologies is FEMA using to achieve better outcomes for your mission?
Sure, thank you.
Either one will pick it up.
But my voice travels, right? So I want to make sure everyone can hear me. So I don't want to get into any specific implementations of emerging technologies from a FEMA perspective, but I would say that the federal government as a whole has truly embraced emerging technology in the form of artificial intelligence, RPA, such as robotic process automation, machine learning, even leveraging cloud-based solutions. Here at FEMA, we have a very unique mission set. And our mission is to help people before, during, and after disasters. And so from a emergent technology perspective, we're looking for solutions that would help us be able to better serve the American public. And so we're looking for trustworthy and resilient systems that are able to meet operational requirements at the speed of the mission. And so we have, essentially leveraged cloud-based solutions over the past 2 or 3 years. The intent is to continue to leverage emerging technologies based on our core mission. And so it has to map back to a mission or a requirement per se. And so even though we have all, a treasure trove of emerging technologies that are available at our disposal, if it doesn't fit within our core mission set, then we would pretty much forego that. But I think we can all agree that AI is probably the way of the future now. And so we're looking at ways, where we can leverage AI not only to serve the American public, but then also how we can gain better efficiencies from a FEMA perspective in terms of our cyber mission. Case in point, we can leverage AI, machine learning to parse through a treasure trove of information that we can then feed into our incident response capabilities. And so having your security analysts trying to identify indicators of compromise, we could essentially leverage AI to kind of identify that information up and up front. And so now we are focusing really on core mission, and then we're letting AI kind of pick up some of the heavy lifting on the back end. So from a FEMA perspective, again, as a overall government perspective, we are utilizing emerging technology. But again, it goes back to your core mission and your requirements to support, your core mission. So.
Yeah, and Bobby, FEMA is deployed today, right? Hurricane Beryl, South Texas,
kind
floods.
of want my mic right here.
You're going to be thinking about, how do we first assuage ongoing suffering, but then how do we restore and recover, and things like counter fraud and those kind of missions.
But Bobby made a good point that I think everybody needs to kind of catch on to. Business/mission drives technology. Technology enables business to meet its goals and objectives, right? So it's not about the
But this is a good segue to Bob, because I don't think that's entirely true. There are some times where technology, invention, creates opportunities. And whether we like it or not, the commercial sector will build upon those opportunities. And this is core to CISA's mission, because your mission isn't just cyber for your own sake, right? It's cyber for the nation, for the economy, for an innovation economy, which we want to be bringing new products and services all around the world. So you've got this dual piece of protecting the economy, but also then within CISA, using some of these emerging technologies to be better at your own cyber. So can you talk to some of us for those two different universes?
Sure. Hopefully everyone can hear me. We're arguing with the microphones here, but I have a louder voice than you. I think I tend not to talk in like hyperbole often. Many of you have worked with me. I tend to be pretty direct. So I don't know that we can highlight that it's emerging technology. Some of these technologies have been there a long time. Some of us on the federal side, I'm like all the rest of you. If you're feds, I have very legacy systems that were part of CISA, or actually that I'm trying to upgrade from the formation of DHS, stuff that came over from DOD, and it's quite challenging. I think that we are pushing forward is, I'll have been there about 3 years now, the end of August. One of the best things that we can do internally, I handle the internal IT needs of the agency. So that's from employee endpoints to the systems we run. I serve as the authorizer for a lot of our cyber systems, and we work back and forth with the Cybersecurity Directorate. You'll hear from David Carroll shortly. We're all partners at CISA. I think what I'm trying to do is, no one's going to say, well, Bob Costello, you did a good job. You saved millions of dollars, but CISA was hacked every Tuesday around 3 p.m. So I try and make really risk-based decisions, which can be really hard because often we can't quantify the risk on some of our systems because I've inherited some legacy systems that it's difficult to do that. So, one of the first things we started a number of years ago, kind of like 3 points. It was a very small office. It was about 40 people when I started there. It's about 500 now with a lot of our partners in the integrator community. What we did is, it was a multi-year plan as we enter year 3. Like first year, build the right technical staff. Second year, start building stuff. Third year, we're deploying. So we're deploying into new CISA environments that are, one of the things I want to be able to say is these things are just CISA standards or our own guidance. I think that's vitally important. And the second thing that, I often joke, like CIO either stands for Chief Information Officer or career is over. Could really go either way. Or I live in New York City too. There it's Chief Investment Officer. What we're trying to really do is CISA had a very federated or fragmented approach to IT. My goal is not to run all the IT, but to enable the CISA mission operators to concentrate on their mission. And if that's deploying systems, that's wonderful. Can I take some of the noise floor off of you? Can I run your help desk for you? Can I deploy endpoints? And for other groups that are much smaller that probably shouldn't run IT, we took that over and provided back to them and take their requirements. So it's really a partnership. On the AI front, definitely emerging, although AI is not new. I'd say what we did a little bit differently at CISA, we started really early with an AI action plan that you can view externally on our website. And then we have an internal plan that's a little more detailed that kind of goes over things. But I'd say, one of the best aspects of that has been a partnership between myself and the Chief Privacy Officer. We lead the responsible use of AI at CISA. And he very much serves as a check on me because, IT people, we'll just deploy anything. Give me your data. Let's data mine it. It's great. So that partnership has been really fabulous. And I think that's what we're trying to do differently. To your point on CISA's many missions. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak through our emergency communications division was running an event with many of the largest police departments across the country, and we were speaking extensively about my prior roles at CBP and ICE. Like we ran big radio systems, we ran systems that are really OT or IoT and hard to protect. They run for 20 or 30 years. The advantage that we have in the federal government, yes, we sometimes have budget problems. My budget problems are very easy to deal with compared to a local police department or others. So I think our role really is how can we get our advisory services out there? Can you consume our cyber hygiene services and other services? Can we make it easier to sign up? At the end of August, we'll be dropping a new portal that my team's designed to make it easier for our partners to sign up for CISA services. Right now, it's like, send us an email. That's not always the best way, so we'll have a workflow management system that lets us kind of monitor that a lot better.
Well, Bob, I love that you brought up the Emergency Communications Division. It's a group that I have a special affinity for, all things 911, emergency alerting, land mobile radios. We're here in AT&T's headquarters, FirstNet, and the other competitive broadband providers. I just coincidentally had the CEO of a company called Rapid SOS speak to my MBA students last night, and the topic to them was about a startup and what's your noble purpose for being a CEO and how do you align the activities. And he brought up that they had just completed a partnership with Apple and with Google to now for the first time be able to support live stream, FaceTime into the 911 center. Oh, wow. And what was so interesting, and Michael's a great guy, Michael Martin. A year ago, Michael kind of knew the word AI. And last night, he's talked to me about the types of neural networks they're using in the AI, and it went all the way down to RAG, and how they're implementing artificial intelligence to address the challenge of now you've got these videos at a crime scene and videos at an accident, and they're coming into the public safety answering point. And how do we not have all those call takers just be permanently scarred from PTSD from so they're using artificial intelligence to recognize that there's a scene that maybe should be blurred or should be preemptively addressed to help the end-to-end response. So this is the kind of example where the technologies have been around forever. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you that 2 years ago, everyone was talking cloud when they gave their testimony to Congress. This year, it's all generative AI. We get these storms of ChatGPT. And for July 4th this year, the most number of calls to 911 that this nation ever experienced. And part of it is we're just more connected than we were. And people called 911 for more things. And now they're calling with videos.
Thank you for tuning in to HSDF the Podcast. You can follow this podcast on any major podcast platform. Visit hsdf.org to learn more about the Homeland Security and Defense Forum.